Tonight on Elon Local News.
A winter storm blankets the East Coast this weekend. We look into how this storm affected study abroad and other travel plans.
Does not anybody care that the Caroline's not playing?
We sat down with the woman who brought the bells back to downtown Elon.
And a Burst the Bubble class giving students a taste of the South.
All that and more.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Paul LeBlanc.
And I'm Rachel Ellis. We begin tonight with some winter term travel updates. This weekend's winter weather didn't just affect Elon. Hundreds of students thousands of miles away from campus also had to deal with the consequences of Elon's snow. According to Dean of Global Education Woody Pelton, there are still 4 study abroad programs which haven't arrived back to the USA, including trips from Tanzania, Hong Kong, and India. Pelton says the global education travel agents will be busy all week to help students and faculty return to campus and their homes. Our Michelle Alfini caught up with 2 students whose trips back home will take a little longer than they thought.
For a handful of winter term study abroad and study USA programs, this weekend was time to return to campus. But not all of them had an easy time doing it.
We were pretty sure that the plane was going to be at least delayed, but we were all holding out hope that we would be able to get on it or at least be able to leave sometime today, because I know we're all exhausted.
The blizzard that tore through the East Coast meant thousands of flights around the country were canceled, including the one freshman Jennifer Finkelstein and her winter term class were supposed to take home from Italy yesterday morning. Now she and ELN reporter Selena Guevara are among the hundreds of Elon students whose winter term trips have gotten an unexpected extension.
We like being out here and stuff, but we're very much looking forward to going home and being able to relax, and now we're here for 2 more days.
According to Assistant Director of Study Abroad Shanna Van Beek, while weather delays are inconvenient, it's something the Global Education Center deals with all the time.
It's frustrating, it's confusing, it's ambiguous, produces a lot of anxiety for a lot of us, but the best advice is to sit tight, be patient. This is not our first time doing this. This is our top priority, and student safety continues to be our top priority, and we're going to do what it takes to get everyone back home.
And while Finkelstein and Guevara's winter term trip won't be leaving Milan until tomorrow morning, there is a bright side to their extended trip.
Tomorrow it's going to be cool because we're going to Milan and we're going to get to see the city, but it won't be part of the course, so there's no academic strings attached.
Guevara and Finkelstein say their class is scheduled to return to campus late tomorrow evening. Michelle Alfini, Elon Local News.
If you plan on leaving Elon for a fake break, your travel plans may not be in your own hands. Over the past 3 days, more than 10,000 flights have been canceled nationwide due to winter weather. At the local Raleigh, Durham, and Piedmont Triad airports, more than 500 flights have been canceled for tomorrow already, including flights to some of the most popular destinations for Elon students, Baltimore, New York, and Boston. If you are flying this week, check online or call your airline before you grab an Uber to the airport. If you're driving to your fake break destination, you may have more luck. Road conditions on the major interstates across the Tar Heel State are in the green, according to the NC Department of Transportation.
As we've mentioned, the winter storm made its way across the Northeast this weekend. The system left at least 6 states with more than 2 feet of snow, icy roads, and high winds. With the storm now gone, what will the rest of the week's weather look like? Our Kenneth Brown Jr. is here with your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Kenneth?
Well, it came, then it stayed, then it left. The winter storm that blasted through this weekend is behind us, and the sun came out in all of its glory yesterday. Today, it was partly cloudy, and the high temperature was 50. We're heading out of winter term into the spring semester, but is winter up to its old tricks? Well, let's take a look at the Phoenix 5-day forecast and see. Tomorrow, temperatures will be in the upper 50s, just a low of 41 as partly cloudy skies continue, but you can trade sunny skies in for rain Wednesday with an 80% chance, and your high will be right around 42 with the low expected to be 29. Thursday, scattered showers and some clouds linger, but you can expect similar to sunshine for the most part with a high of 42 and a low of 28. Friday, sunny skies are back, getting up close to the 50s and welcoming the weekend. Saturday, sunny skies with a high of 57 and a low of 37. So the days might be nice, but at night it's a whole different story. So stay warm and stay connected with Elon Local News for all your weather updates. Paul and Rachel, back to you.
Thank you, Kenneth. Getting home may not be the only concern for students abroad right now. The Zika virus, which has recently been popping up in the headlines, is a virus spread through mosquito bites. According to the Center for Disease and Control, about 1 in 5 people are affected with the virus that actually get it, which causes symptoms like headache, fever, and joint pain. There is only one winter term program in a country that has reported an active transmission of the virus, the Human Services Practicum in Guatemala. While the Study Abroad Office has not made any changes to their Central or South American programs due to the virus, the Global Education Center says they did make some changes in the past due to programs in Africa because of the Ebola virus and are prepared to make the similar changes if the situation worsens.
That honestly was done in an abundance of caution, more looking at the infrastructure of Ghana, of medical facilities on site. If something were to have happened, it would have been very difficult to evacuate an entire program or even a student.
For those traveling to tropical areas anytime soon, the best way to prevent the infection is to use insect repellent and mosquito nets.
The Turning the Tide report was recently released by Harvard University as a new approach in the college admissions selection process. The report is changing the way college admissions choose students for admittance. The primary change is putting less emphasis on SAT scores and grades, instead focusing on the student's contribution to community service and activities. Elon's Vice President of Admissions and Financial Planning, Greg Zeisser, believes the report is selective and representative of Elon's admissions process.
I think Elon does quite a bit that is reflective of turning the tide. Fundamentally, I think if you think about the schools that are involved in turning the tide, they are some of the most selective institutions in the United States. So I think what they're trying to do is, quite frankly, combat the stress that is involved in being at a place that is so highly selective.
The report is supported by 50 institutions, which include some of the most selective colleges in the world. The report did not state whether admission acceptance rates of these highly selective universities will change.
Today, the case challenging North Carolina law requiring identification to vote began in Winston-Salem federal courts. In 2013, Governor Pat McCrory signed a law barring people with government-issued photo ID from voting. The legislation brought on lawsuits from the United States Department of Justice and the NAACP, who claimed that the law disproportionately affected blacks and other minority voters who opponents say are less likely to have access to birth certificates and other documents needed to get a $10 photo ID. The law was one of many passed by states after the U.S. Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional to require states to get federal approval before changing voting laws in 2013.
The Iowa caucuses are 1 week away. Elon has had a team of reporters on the ground in Iowa who spoke to both candidates from both major parties about what they will do for college students if elected.
There needs to be real focus on reform to lower the costs so that when you start out in life, you don't have recourse debt on your backs before you even start working.
I have a lifelong commitment to helping young people achieve their dreams, and I have the best, most realizable plans to make college affordable.
So make America great again, very simple.
I had over $100,000 in student loans, and I'm the only one running for president as a Republican that's detailed a policy, a bipartisan policy, to deal with the issue of college affordability.
Because I've actually been able to make college more affordable as a governor, bringing people together to hold college tuition at 0% increase.
I also don't think that kids that make a mistake with drugs should go to jail. I think that many kids mature and get over it, but we shouldn't permanently harm their chances to get a job or to get ahead in life.
One of the things that I've talked about is making students responsible for the principal, and the college is responsible for the interest. That would change the game very drastically, because then the colleges and universities would have skin in the game.
And we have our Brianna McClelland here in the studio to talk about her experience while reporting in Iowa. Welcome, Brianna.
Thank you.
So why is Iowa so important?
Honestly, Iowa is so important because it is the first state to vote, and it's the first real opportunity these candidates have to really showcase themselves and prove to not only potential donors but to voters results and what they can do and the groundwork that they can establish.
Right.
So, Brie, what did you notice while you were on the ground?
I noticed that Iowans take this responsibility very seriously, and they're very proud of this ability to vote first. And it was interesting because a lot of Iowans go to several events for either party, and they really take the time to educate themselves so they can pick the candidate that truly reflects their own views.
Right. So you just got back. Any predictions?
I mean, right now it's really a guessing game. We are a week out. A lot can happen in 1 week, as we saw while we were there. As of right now, on the Republican side, I do think that Donald Trump is going to come out on top, not only because of recent polling numbers, but also he's really gaining support from across the GOP, evangelicals, the Tea Party establishment, and even those of the party who just want a fresh face in Washington. But trailing behind him, but neck and neck with one another, I think is going to be Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Texas Senator Ted Cruz. As of right now, Ted Cruz is leading in polling numbers, but Marco Rubio was recently endorsed by the Des Moines Register. And a political polling website called 538 did a study, and 7 of the 9 candidates since 1988 have been more successful. On the Democratic side, I think Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders will be successful. He's really embodying President Obama's strategy from 2008, but close behind is going to be Secretary Clinton, no doubt.
Thank you so much,
Well, thank you so much, Brie.
We'll use that information and stick with Elon throughout the 2016 election season for the latest local and national updates.
Coming up, you hear them every day. We look into the story behind the bells.
And I'm here to help you find the best deals for your spring semester textbooks. Coming up next.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
That's the one. I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. And I will not go viral when my terror is caught on camera when I finally realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
The upcoming Academy Awards are speaking a lot of conversation and debate due to the lack of diversity on the nominee list last week, prompting the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite. This is the second year in a row that all nominees for Best Actor, Best Actress, and Supporting Actor and Actress are white. Some actors like Jada Pinkett Smith say they will not be tuning in, according to her social media. Our Maya Eaglin spoke with one Elon professor who wants change.
The nominees are
The upcoming Academy Awards are sparking a lot of conversation and debate due to the lack of diversity in the nominee list. Dr. Naima Clark, a professor in the School of Communications, believes that the Oscars are not representing enough people.
If you really truly believe that representations of different people, whether it's non-white, transgendered, people who are larger than a size 2, then you support those films.
Dr. Clark says the themes of these films affect whether it will be recognized or not.
It's like, oh, slavery was so bad. Oh, that segregation in the 60s. Oh, that's so bad. Let's recognize this film. When you look at something like Straight Outta Compton or Creed, where there is this very successful kind of coming of age story, that isn't as pulling on the heartstrings as much.
She says it's up to moviegoers to change the minds of the film industry.
If you want to see other stories told, you have to go see those films. So it shows Hollywood that, see, there's box office here. There are people who want to see these films.
Dr. Clark believes boycotting the Oscars might be exactly what needs to happen.
But it is going to start a conversation. And that's really what we need to have, a conversation about representation in the industry, not about who gets nominated, because you can't get nominated if the film isn't made.
Maya Eaglin, Elon Local News.
As winter term is winding down, it's time to start preparing for spring semester, starting by finding those textbooks. But is it possible to search for books without having to search for extra cash in your couch cushions? Our Megan Jernak is here with this week's College Consumer Report. Megan?
Thanks, Paul. With one semester under my belt, I've already made my fair share of mistakes when it comes to ordering textbooks. Thankfully, this time I've come up with some textbook tips to save money and time when searching for books. First, check the bookshelves of your family and friends and the local library. Maybe your mom's book club read your assigned global reading, or your roommate took that sociology class and never returned her book. You'll never know until you ask, and $0 is always the best price to pay for any book. Buying online is also a smart option, as long as you make sure to find the best deal. To save time and computer tabs, use price compare sites such as bigwords.com. These sites will let you look at prices of the same book from multiple sellers, so you know you're getting the best possible deal. Just make sure you keep an eye on shipping charges and give the books plenty of time to get here. If you absolutely must go through the Elon bookstore to find your books, remember, rent, don't buy. It's as simple as filling out some additional paperwork when you get the books. However you choose to get your books, make sure you act fast. Spring semester will be here before you know it, and no one wants to deal with the syllabus week textbook scramble.
Thanks, Megan. On your walk to class, you probably hear some music coming from downtown Elon. Our Jackie Pascal looked into the story behind the song.
The chiming of the bells is a normal sound for those walking into the Elon Community Church, but the music hasn't always been around.
Well, my sister had carol on at her church, and she really liked it. And so that's what we approached the church with, that idea that that's what we wanted. And so it makes me feel good when I hear them playing.
Kay Elder grew up going to Elon's church and hearing the bells, but left after graduating from Elon College. Almost 50 years later, she came back to find the music gone.
The carillon was bought a long time ago in memory of my father. And it was a tape deck, and it broke. And the company didn't repair them anymore. I don't know how long it was off because of the tape deck being broken. But it made me sad. I said, does not anybody care that the carillon's not playing?
After returning in 2010, Elder went on a 3-year hunt for a new way to keep the music playing.
In 2013, we found a company here in North Carolina that did the digital, and that's so much better.
And Elder wasn't the only one missing the music.
But I was real glad because there was a member of the church that knew about them and got it started, because he said, Kay, we need the bells ringing again. And we did.
So next time you're walking through downtown Elon, keep an ear out for the hymns of the Caroline, because as Elder says, it can make you feel good.
They play as people are coming into church, and I think that's good. And give you a good feeling coming into church.
Jackie Pascal, Elon Local News.
When we come back, we found 2 Elon students cooking up some Southern cooking traditions.
And the weather this weekend didn't stop students from tapping their feet. Stay tuned.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
One in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
That's the one. I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. And I will not go viral when my terror is caught on camera when I finally realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
While the outside may be cold, our Connor McCoy found out how some students were keeping warm in the kitchen with this Burst the Bubble class.
Pecan pie, shrimp and grits, and biscuits and gravy are just a few foods that come to mind when you think of the South. But Laura Orr and Dawson Nicholson want to change that. They're teaching Southern cooking, food made in the South, a Burst the Bubble class teaching students how to make classic Southern dishes.
The goal for the class is just to give students the opportunity to learn about traditional Southern food as well as some of the customs that go along with cooking in the South.
8 students meet every Wednesday in the Mosley kitchen to make a different Southern recipe. Orr and Nicholson teach students how to make biscuits, mac and cheese, and a traditional Southern round cake.
So all the recipes is food that I grew up cooking either through my mother or my grandmother. So it's stuff that I've made growing up at home.
The idea for the class stems from Orr and Nicholson's love for cooking and their hope to spread that feeling to other students.
And I love watching the other students just enjoy it. It's been really fun because I think cooking a lot of times can be intimidating, at least for me.
Orr hopes she can make cooking more fun and less intimidating for students.
It's been awesome. It's been fun to learn the different techniques and tricks to make awesome dishes and then be able to eat it all afterwards.
After years of cooking with their families, the girls believe food has a way of bringing people together.
In the South particularly, we love food. We love kind of big gatherings that feature food as kind of the centerpiece. And so I think it's very much that shared community aspect of when you sit down to eat, you have a big table full of people and you kind of get to commune over more than just the meal.
Connor McCoy,
You're fine.
Elon Local News.
All's Well That Ends Well isn't just the name of the latest production to come to Elon's Black Box Theater, but also the motto of the cast and crew, as Winter Storm have canceled 3 of their shows. The shows were originally scheduled for Friday and Saturday, but were canceled because of the snow and poor road conditions. In order to try to make up the revenue from the lost shows, the theater department added an extra 7:30 p.m. show on Sunday, in addition to their already scheduled show at 2 p.m. But the director says the crowds just have not been the same.
Well, there's nothing we can do. We added a performance tonight, but if people can't come on a different night, they can't come, or they think it's still icy, they didn't want to venture out. So we just, we tried it to see, and we're serving a nice group of people tonight, but wish it was more.
The annual Tapped Out Showcase celebrated 11 years at Elon this weekend with performances in the Black Box Theater. Buzzard. blizzard threatening to cancel the event, students enrolled in the winter term class all tapped out, refused to let their hard work go unperformed. Taught by tap instructor Gene Medler, the showcase featured a wide array of pieces including tap styles such as contemporary and classical. Student choreographer Jenna Barone says she believes tap is an important but fun aspect of dance.
Tap is somewhat of a lost art, in my opinion. Other forms of dances are more similar, but tap is really kind of that like standout, loud, that doesn't really require like as much like ballet technique or something. And they should really just get a good time. It's loud, it's fun.
Coming up, the winter weather didn't stop the Phoenix. We have highlights from games this weekend after the break.
I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. And I will not go viral when my terror is caught on camera when I finally realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
The snow didn't stop the Phoenix from taking the court this weekend. The women's team snapped its 3-game losing streak with Friday with a win against College of Charleston. For the first time in 90 games, the Phoenix did not make a single three-pointer, but at the end of the game, Elon won with a final score of 52-41.
The men's team had a more difficult week, losing its first CAA game on the road to William & Mary on Thursday. The Tribe jumped ahead early and never let the Phoenix into the game with a final score of 89-67.
It didn't get any better when they returned back to Alumni Gym, losing to James Madison University 8-64 on Saturday night. Sophomore Dimitri Thompson commented on their performance after the game.
It's all about us, really. At the end of the day, basketball is a game of runs, and it's a game of, changing up concepts throughout the game. People are going to change a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all about what we, do as a team.
The team has now lost 4 of its last 5 games and looks to get back on the right track on Thursday at Hofstra.
That's all we have tonight for Elon Local News.
You can find our stories online at elonlocalnews.com or on Facebook or Twitter at Elon Local News. You can also check us out on our app. Download ELN from the App Store to get the news you need to know all the time.
This is our last winter term show. We will be back with the news you need to know February 8th. From all of us here at ELN, have a great night and a great fake break, Elon.